Welcome, audience, to the Master Your Money show, where we're talking about how to build your entrepreneurial and your financial mindset so you can make more money and accelerate your business. And today, really thankful to have Ryan Bowles here on the show. Thank you, Ryan, for being with us.
Cheers, Josh.
Yeah. Look, I put this show together because I do want to see entrepreneurs, solopreneurs, small business owners struggling in their business and struggling with how to manage their money in their business and which then affects their personal life as well. So I've gotten together a whole host of people to do this, and Ryan is just a marketing genius. Ryan, he's been around since MSN Chat. If anyone remembers that, I certainly do. I was in middle school, high school when that was around, through to MySpace, and now his big focus is Facebook and Instagram and using them to build his business. But he's just an expert at and teaches other people to do it too. And so I wanted to get Ryan on the show because I've seen some of the stuff he does around Facebook in particular, and he just does it so well, and he does it in a way that doesn't appear douchey or feel like he's trying to sell people. He's there to add value and just help people, and that fully comes across in what he does. So Ryan, thanks for being here. We'd love to know a bit about your journey and how that kind of transition through all those different social media areas happened and what it was like for you.
Yeah, cool. Josh, thanks for having me, dude. Real honor and grateful that I get to share a part of my story and hopefully some golden nuggets for those listening. It goes back to, I remember the first time ever on MSN Chat. I just moved back to the Gold Coast. It was 1999, and my cousin introduced me. It was a year or two older than me, to MSN Chat, and it was the first time I'd ever spoken to someone online that I didn't know. So, apart from a text message or whatever the thing was, in school, MSN was just this whole new world. It was like, I think this person's in another country. And it was completely mind-blowing. I was 10 at the time. So people good with maths can work that out. But I was 10 and I just was like, this is crazy. And I only just realized that it was back then that I started developing, the psychology of online communication, building rapport with someone at the time when you couldn't see them face to face, and you could just type and you didn't know who was on the other end of that keyboard. So it started then, building relationships, building rapport, and learning how to, grow communities essentially before we got into the spaces of MySpace and posting bulletins on there and sending people to your events. And, I was in bands early on, so I had to really build communities and learn how to send traffic, send real people to a live place where they could hear the music. So it was all of this, it was a culmination of all of this stuff that has then led into, launching businesses successfully. And now we're in the Facebook stage. And I can remember those mid 2000s when MySpace was at its peak, and you might be the same, it was at its prime. You could have a music.
It's the only thing on social media.
It was it. And you could have your favorite song, you could have your top friends and all of this stuff. And then Facebook came along and it was sort of like, no, I don't want to look at Facebook. That sounds stupid. Who would ever do that? And I resisted and resisted and resisted. And here we are in 2019, networking and communicating with people worldwide through something, that is as powerful as we know as Facebook. So that was the sort of the journey. There were lots of things within there, but it started from just meeting people online. And then eventually I started bands. And while I was doing bands, I built a graphic design business because I designed for my bands and grew that. And then it turned into learning the strategies behind marketing and sales, and now growing a coaching business, helping people build their own communities, especially on Facebook.
That's awesome there. And I guess it's just built upon each other along the way then for you, has it then?
Complete stepping stones. And there's no way I could have predicted where I'd be now 2 years ago, let alone, 10, 20 years ago when all this started. It's just been, one open door after the other and seeing an opportunity and just jumping through it, full-blooded.
Was there a definite point when you decided, okay, I'm going into business on this, or just kind of keep slowly inclining?
there was a definite point at the probably midway mark 2018 when I've sort of shifted, the people or the market that I wanted to coach. Previously to that, I'd been coaching creatives and freelancers and helping them grow their businesses, learn how to bring in clients, how to market themselves, build a brand for themselves, etc., close sales. But the whole time during that process, I'd always just loved, a straight up and down business, entrepreneurial conversation. That's why, we get along, we're having this chat. It's because I just love opening up that package of like, what's your business doing? Where are you looking to take it? Let's jam out on some ideas. And so I knew that was sort of hovering, and I wanted to get to that space, but I didn't know what sort of product or skill set that I could offer until I sort of just did some reflection as to what I'd used to build my businesses. And they'd been Facebook groups. And I'd built communities and learned how to sell in like you said, a non-salesy or douchey way where it doesn't feel like people are just getting crammed down their throat with marketing and tactics that is so, widespread on the internet as we know it. And so then I started just practicing and testing that out with friends' businesses as to what we can do with their groups. And it's been that evolution to get us to this point now.
Yeah, that's great. Now, I'd like to, because I know a lot of the audience here, the big people who are running a side hustle, maybe wanting to take that kind of full time.
Yeah.
Because that sounds like a bit of your journey has kind of been like that, testing, trialing things, and where you're at now. Like, what would you kind of say to those people as a good start?
Great question. If I could go back to like some of those testing, trialing periods, because there's been plenty of stuff that hasn't worked, I'll promise you that. I've learned a model of figuring out now how to, choose to go in that direction. If I had my iPad up, or anyone listening, they could literally draw this out. And there's 3 circles that overlap. It's known as a Venn diagram. Mm-hmm. They all overlap. And within the top circle, or the first circle, if you want to call it that, it's your passion. Put a smiley face into that circle. And the thing that you're going to help people with or create a business around, you need to be passionate about it. It needs to be able to get you up out of the bed in the morning. It needs to keep you up late, maybe over a red wine with a colleague or a client or a friend. Okay. You need to be passionate and be able to talk about it till you're blue in the face. The second circle needs to be, maybe a tick. You need to be good at that thing. Okay. We might be passionate about blues music, but we might have no idea or be absolutely terrible at playing blues music. Okay, so you need to be good at it. Mm-hmm. The third and final circle in the Venn diagram is a dollar sign. Will people pay you for that thing? Okay, and most of the time, when I've trialed and tested, I've seen things. I'll be good at 2 of any of the 3. People might pay me for it, and I might be good at it, but I'm not passionate about it. And if that's the scenario, then it's going to go down the drain eventually. It might be short, or it might be long time before it goes down the drain. But because you don't have a passion for it, it'll lose out. You might have a passion for it and you might be really good at it, but no one's willing to hand over cash or their credit card to pay you for the thing. Okay. And we all know that that's not really a business. It's just a hobby.
Yeah.
People might be willing to pay you for it and you might be super passionate about it, but you don't have the skill set to get them results. And that's the one thing that they're wanting if they're going to pay you. So it's got to work in alignment. All 3 things have to fit before you go, all right, cool, this is viable. Let's go down this path. So that's what I would recommend to anyone looking to further or start a side hustle is get those 3 things in place early and before you push forward.
Yeah. And is there a kind of trial period you suggest people kind of aim for, or some good goals to set there?
Great question. Is there a trial period? I mean, if it's a side hustle and you're not reliant on that income to pay the bills, to feed the family, XYZ, then play with this stuff in your time outside of work, play with it on the weekend, and see what sort of traction you can get. And I mean, I think it's how long is a piece of string, but you don't want to be trialing for, 12 months, 16, 18 months and still no traction has come about. Pretty early on, you need to find out if people have a need and a want for the idea that you've got. You can do that by sending a group text out to the family, sending an email out to the clients you've worked with previously, putting a post up on Facebook, just doing a bit of market research and seeing, hey, is this something people would want?
Yeah, that's great. That's great. So yeah, that's so good to hear your journey there and what you're doing, and kind of your business journey as an entrepreneur is really interesting there too. That obviously you've just kept honing and developing those skills as you've gone, and now, well, not just now. You kind of shared you've been through on the journey there, but it's like you've just gotten sharper and sharper. And I know part of your thing is going to your niche, because you mentioned creatives before. What has kind of been your jump at 2018? You said you made a bit of a shift. What's changed there for you?
Totally. I think it was just the conversations that I was having with people, and it came down to that passion sort of sector in the diagram, where when I was having conversations around, freelancing and creative, I could still talk about that stuff. But what really got me excited was, like entrepreneur-based businesses where, someone's building a movement or leading an army or, fixing problems or coaching, those sorts of elements to entrepreneurialism. Hard word to say. I don't say that often at all, but just so that everyone knows, that's the sort of topic. And coaching has always been a big part of my life. I grew up in a home where my parents were coaches to so many people. One-on-one in group environments. I saw them speaking on stage and helping a lot of people. And so it's a bit of that nurture nature element. It was partly in my blood, and I knew at some point I wanted to, flesh that out further to help people.
Great. Well, that's really good. We've heard a lot about the entrepreneurial journey there too. Now, one question I've been asking a lot of people is around the money, the financial side of things. And I'd love to hear people's first experience, first memory around money in their life, and then how that has kind of shaped them.
That's such a good question. And I don't think I've ever meditated on that thought or that idea before. For me, the first thing that probably comes to mind is, I think, or I know very well that my parents, had a really great relationship with money. We know that money is the determining factor for most divorces and relationship breakdowns and arguments. And so I never saw anything at all. And I'm very grateful to have grown up in that environment, and know that's not the story for a lot of people. So the broad picture was, I saw a really great environment and relationship with money. Coming down to my first sort of relationship with money was probably pocket money. I don't know if that's universal, but like in Oz, it's pretty common to get, $1 or something pocket money. That's where it started for me. I don't remember doing too much with that, apart from buying lollies and some candy and stuff down at the local store. And it wasn't until I started washing cars and vacuuming, cleaning cars for my parents, they were in the car industry, that I started to then earn money that wasn't pocket money. And I'd get $1 to wash it. And then I, showed my value, and I said, well, I don't want $1 just to wash and vacuum. I want $1 to wash, $1 to vacuum.
Oh yeah.
And so then I could do 5 cars and get $10.
Yeah.
And that was my introduction to earning. So yeah, thanks for asking that question. That's, even for me to look back at my first job, that's it right there.
So it's like that you are adding features, or you're just adding value to the service you're already providing to people, and then people could see that and are paid more.
Yeah,
I know.
Totally.
I've learned. Yeah, that's something I've been taught. Yeah,
for sure.
That's fantastic. And then, how was that kind of transition into how you started running your businesses later on?
Oh, how has that transitioned to how I've started running businesses later on? I think the value element is the key. You need to over deliver before you can ask. And I really am a big believer in that. Yesterday or this week, a guy said within our Facebook group, he said, dude, I downloaded your free lead magnet, and it was actually gold. Like, there was so much in there. And I responded back to him. I said, man, it's a real shame that you had to say that, because a free thing from someone should be packed with value these days. But unfortunately, it's not. You know, we download things and it's just a bunch of fluff and hot air before they say, hey, buy my stuff. And so, yeah, I guess that ingrained from an early age was to over deliver before ever asking.
Yeah, that's great. And I know that you have a gift that's full of value to offer people at the end of the show. In fact, all the speakers have been on, everyone who's been on the Master Your Money show so far have just put out these incredible gifts,
Cool.
books, guides, just so much detail on that too. So I'm so glad.
Everyone listening, stick around.
Yeah, definitely. So yeah, look, I know that's just a perfect way for people to add value, is to create something. Yeah, that when they open it, it actually over delivers on what it promised, and they can use that too for free. So yeah.
100%.
And how have you linked that in with your what you're doing on Instagram, on Facebook now? You've got that resource. How do you actually start by promoting that?
Yeah, cool. Well, I guess the advantage that I had is that I had an audience already built on Instagram. However, they're not the audience necessarily that are right or a right fit for now the product and service I'm delivering. So that's been, I've sent that out, and it's viable for some of them, that want to come on that journey, which is great. And it's not there for all of them. I've heavily utilized my Facebook personal profile to really network, and it's an awesome space if people listening aren't already doing that, and just keep it as a personal profile. It's a great place to network with people. And, I am so sure that you can build rapport with people within one or two messages or a comment or two via Facebook that you could not do anywhere else. You can really get into some big, powerful circles simply by, your network. And there's that common thought out there that your net worth is your network. And I've seen it to be true. The people that you surround yourself with can be exponential in growing your business. And so Facebook, to sum up that thought, is perfect for it, being your personal profile.
Yeah. And
so that has then been the vehicle to be able to market some of these free things or offers, etc.
Yeah, that's perfect. How does that look in comparison to your Instagram side of things?
I've taken a bit of a break or a back seat on Instagram as of maybe March this year. Prior to that, it was like such a full-on campaign and strategy. There's been a few things just going on in my world personally that are really great. They're not downers at all. And it's just caused me to take a look at, how much time I want to spend on different platforms and socials and where I want to fix my attention. So my attention is fixed on Facebook for especially the business and business relationship side. If you had have spoken to me 12 months ago, it would have been the other way around. Okay. So it's just taken a bit of a flip. And my Instagram recently has been more about just personal updates and, having fun on there for most of the time.
Yeah, that's good. There's something I really wanted to ask you, because I know it would be really of value to my audience here, particularly on the marketing side of things. Cool. We're talking about the finance, and I've experienced it, and I'm sure plenty of other people have experienced it in business. How to spend on marketing and looking at how to prioritize what we do or your campaign, which way to go based on your business, which platforms to focus on. I'd love to hear your thoughts around that.
Yeah, cool. I guess, or I would assume that the first thought people go to is ad spend, Facebook ads, etc. To just be real with everyone, that hasn't been my primary outlet for marketing. I've gone down much more organic routes that have been, for me, way more cost effective in terms of joint ventures with people that have audiences that I would like to speak into and chat with. And using different people via, Instagram that have, influence of, anywhere from 500,000 up to 1 million plus type followings, or people that have email lists of, 20, 30K, etc. And so to bring it back to a story and then Instagram, I reached out to a page that had nearly 900,000, followers, nearly a million. Now they've got 1 million. And we just started a simple conversation. The guy said to me, "Hey, are you Sri Lankan?" And I said, "Yeah." And he said, "So am I." And like literally it was just, sort of best mates after that. And since then we've done, business venture after business venture, and it just happened via a simple message. Now you don't have to be the same nationality as someone, but I'm just going to show how simple it can be. And that helped me then, sell my courses and products and build an email list and create an audience. So, and that cost me nothing apart from a joint venture, percentage splits on different campaigns that we've run. It didn't involve ads, etc. Does that help answer one maybe part of the question?
Yeah, I think that's good, because I know it can be such a focus on that money outlay side of things.
Sure.
Yeah, there are all these other avenues for joint ventures in particular. And how can you grow your audience that way too?
Yep.
And from my experience too, it's been around, okay, I mean, you've spoken about how you add value to potential clients, but I'm sure that's the way it is for joint ventures as well. Is that how you've approached it first? How do you add value to them?
Yeah, 100%. It's got to be a two-way street. So whatever the opportunity or deal looks like, it's got to look, really tasty to them. Otherwise, why would they bother, spending time with you? Currently, something that I'm rolling out, which has been a lot of fun, if you like the sort of teaching style, is I've sent out a message to a bunch of people that are really fantastic coaches, because that's the space that I'm playing in. And some of them I've had, face-to-face relationship with. Some have just been like an online comment or a GIF or a message here and there. And I've just said, "Hey, Josh, like I'm currently teaching my stuff to high-end masterminds for, free. I'd love to offer that value to your mastermind, your high-end clients, and spend an hour, 90 minutes with them and just absolutely open the vault and share whatever I can with them to help them with their Facebook groups." And so I've lined up, like I've got 6 or 7, masterminds that I'm speaking with. And just the rapport when someone introduces you and edifies you to their people, does the world of difference in terms of that reciprocity coming back to you in the form of business and your following and that know, like, trust factor.
Yeah, that's great. And I guess it's taking that first step to reach out to those people to start the conversation.
Similar to what you've done putting this all together. So kudos to you, man.
Yeah, thanks. And look, I've learned so much about it, and I guess that's probably why I'm asking so many questions. I'm being a bit selfish about it, because
good.
Like, I've had so much fun doing this and having so many fantastic conversations with people.
So cool.
And I was in that situation too. Yeah, do I keep spending money on advertising, or do I go into joint ventures? So there's some really great practical strategies there for some people to use.
Epic.
Yeah. Now, I'd like to kind of close out with 2 other questions around our mindset with entrepreneurship and finances as well. So I'd like to dive into what's the one key thing that you has found helped your mindset in terms of thinking as a business person in entrepreneurship, and then what's the one key thing that's then helped with the financial side of that?
Okay, sure. The business side, I love reading books. I mean, I didn't used to, but I liked the result that I could get from a book. And so a couple of key books for me in terms of the business side that really helped were The E-Myth by Michael E. Gerber. One that I'm reading right now, not necessarily, well, it is business, is called Never Split the Difference. That's by Chris Voss.
That is an incredible book. Yeah.
Yeah. So I'm 3/4 through, and I'm having a lot of fun implementing negotiating strategies in there, not only in like relationships, but in business and all sorts. And like I was chatting to Optus yesterday, and I was using some of the strategies with Optus, our phone provider. So that's been really good. And to give a third book, I'm just looking at my shelf. Well, it depends which way you want to go. I mean, Expert Secrets for me by Russell Brunson open the door to teaching and creating content online that serves people, and you can you get paid for it. That lined up with Think and Grow Rich, which was like early days, helped form a lot of mindsets and set some rhythms in place. So that's sort of the business side. The finance side, I mean, really practically here in Australia, the Barefoot Investor,
yeah,
the book that he released and continues to edit each year is just incredible. Just really simple, practical ways to manage your finance, to set it up automatically, and so that you don't have to think about it. And then you check your accounts and you think, hey, I've got a few $100s or a few $1,000s to spend on whatever I want because I've set it aside. So I'd have to just say that book for finance has just been simple and game changing.
Great. Yeah, thanks for sharing.
No problem.
Yeah, there's plenty of books to check out there, and E-Myth, I know a lot of people have suggested that, and Never Split the Difference as well. Love that book. I recommend it to everyone.
Yeah, cool.
I heard it on a podcast. I heard someone's podcast in Australia. Actually, it was a property developer podcast, and he had the author on, and
awesome.
This guy's great.
Epic. Yeah, right.
Yeah. Now, I know we talked about the gift a little bit earlier too, but you've got a gift. I love the title of it. The 7 Deadly Sins of a Group Owner, free guide for people to jump into and get a hold of. Tell us a little bit about that.
Yeah, cool. Well, I mean, dealing with lots of entrepreneurs and coaches, helping them with their Facebook groups, just working out what are the 7 most, and I call them deadly sins, the simple mistakes that I see everyone making. Not only just, how to stop doing those or avoiding them, but then what's the flip side, the 180 of strategy that you should replace that either bad habit with or just bad practice. So there's sort of 2 things there. So there are 7 simple things. Stop doing this, start doing this instead. Really practical. Like I said, earlier, someone yesterday just said, dude, this is really golden and easily to implement. So that's how it works. It's free. People can go to ryanbowles.com/sins to get that. And totally enjoy it. There's a ton of stuff in there, some strategies to grow your group, how to preface or vet people before they come in, which generates leads, and a bunch more stuff in there.
Oh, great. Well, yeah, definitely, listeners. I'll put the link in the show notes there in the description there for you to get a hold of.
Perfect.
Definitely, check out ryanbowles.com. But what I recommend is you actually friend him on Facebook as well.
Yeah, do that.
So I see a lot of really cool content that Ryan just puts out for free for people to really implement. And as you said, I've seen it's just really, really strategic, but really, really simple and practical for people to put out.
Thanks,
there.
Dude.
So,
Cheers.
Love it. Fantastic. Well, look, Ryan, I just want to thank you for being on the show. There's been so much.
My pleasure.
This half hour talking about it. And listeners, make sure you stay tuned to the other interviews coming up. We're going to be covering all other areas of business and really just focusing on these key areas so that you can put in these practical strategies and start to really accelerate your business and get into control of your financial side as well. So, Ryan, look, thanks again. Loved having you here on the show, and all the best with it.
Appreciate it, Josh. Thanks for having me.
Thank you. Talk to you soon.
Talk soon.